Ever feel like you're stuck needing an expert's advice, like right this second? Someone who actually gets what you're dealing with in your specific industry.
It's that I need answers and I need them now feeling, right?
Exactly. Well, that's the potential of these custom GPTs everyone's talking about. It's like having an AI expert on demand. So today we are diving deep into custom GPTs, what they are, how they're different from ChatGPT, and why people are so excited about them.
And what's really interesting here is that ChatGPT, that's like your brilliant generalist, but a custom GPT, that's the seasoned pro you bring in for a very specific task.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so it's like having a whole team of experts at your fingertips, but each one is laser focused, trained on a very specific knowledge base.
Okay, that's seriously cool. And it reminds me, we've got a pretty big milestone to celebrate today. Red Rose Appraisals, they're over in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. They just launched their 50th custom GPT.
50? That's impressive.
I know, right?
Hmm.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's make sure everyone listening is up to speed on the lingo. No AI jargon left behind.
Right, gotta decode the AI buzzwords.
Exactly. So what do we need to cover first?
Well, first up, foundation model. Think of this as what powers both ChatGPT and custom GPTs. It's that massive language model, or LLM, that's trained to understand and generate text, just like we do.
So it's like the basic training before they specialize.
Exactly. Now, let's say you need your custom GPT to give you really specific answers, like it's got to have the receipts to back it up.
I love that. Gotta have receipts.
Right. So that's where RAG comes in retrieval augmented generation. It's like giving your custom GPT a research assistant that fetches the most relevant data from a knowledge base.
So instead of just guessing, it's got facts.
Yeah.
I like it. And the knowledge base is basically what? All that info neatly organized.
Exactly. All those documents, data, whatever your custom GPT needs to become an expert in its niche.
Makes sense.
And to find the right info fast, we use a vector database.
Vector database. Okay, that sounds a little intense.
It's simpler than it sounds. Imagine a super organized filing system, like way better than anything you'd find in an office.
Okay, I can picture that.
Each piece of info gets a unique code. This way, the custom GPT can pinpoint exactly what it needs in a flash.
Okay, so we've got our foundation, a mountain of organized info. What's next in building a custom GPT?
This is where it gets really interesting. This is where we move on to fine-tuning, and it's kind of what it sounds like. We're taking that foundational knowledge and we're training the custom GPT on very specific data for whatever it's going to be used for.
So it's like sending your AI expert to like a specialized training program tailored for their specific role.
Exactly. If you're building a custom GPT to analyze, say, real estate property values in a specific county, well, you'd train it on data sets just for that region. And to guide its learning, we use instruction tuning. Think of it like giving your AI expert clear instructions, what to do, how to present the info.
Making sure it understands the assignment. But even the best experts, they can make mistakes, right? What about those moments when AI seems to just make things up? Isn't that called hallucination?
It is. It's a common concern, and it happens when the AI generates info that's incorrect or just doesn't make sense. Often it's because of insufficient data, or maybe it's misinterpreting the data it does have. That's why rigorous testing is so important.
So no cutting corners on the training.
No way. You want your custom GPT to be reliable, right? So testing helps identify any weaknesses, any biases, and then you go back, fine-tune it, test again. It's an ongoing process.
So it's a journey.
Yeah.
Speaking of journeys, we've got to talk about Red Rose Appraisals and their incredible work with custom GPTs in real estate. What makes their story so remarkable?
Well, what's remarkable is they're not just using custom GPTs, they're really pioneering them.
Yeah.
Remember how we were talking about needing a specialist for a specific task?
Yeah.
Well, they've actually created a custom GPT called the Lancaster Market Analyzer. And this thing is laser focused on their local real estate market.
Okay, so it's not just some generic real estate AI. This one actually knows Lancaster County.
Exactly. It can analyze those market trends, assess property values, even generate really detailed descriptions, all tailored to Lancaster County.
Now that's local expertise.
Uh-huh.
And get this, they're connecting their different custom GPTs using the @ symbol, almost like tagging someone on social media. What's that all about?
That's where the real magic happens. Because now you're creating a network of AI tools that can actually interact and collaborate.
Oh, wow.
Right. So imagine this. The Lancaster Market Analyzer identifies a property with, like, amazing investment potential.
Okay.
Using that at TID, it could actually trigger their right-of-way compensation GPT to check for easements, legal issues, things like that.
So it's streamlining their whole workflow. No more switching between different programs or like manually searching for information.
Exactly. It's the seamless flow of information and expertise.
That's incredible.
And here's the best part. Red Rose Appraisals has developed a whole toolbox of these specialized custom GPTs, 50 to be exact.
50.
They really weren't kidding about embracing AI.
They really weren't.
Yeah.
So if I'm hearing this right, it's not just about having one super smart AI. It's about creating like a network of these specialized AI tools that can actually work together.
Yes,
That's next level.
it is.
But, okay, let's rewind a bit. How do you actually build a custom GPT? Like, what are the steps?
It all starts with a really clear vision, right? What problem are you trying to solve? What kind of data do you need?
Okay.
It's kind of like planning a building, you need a blueprint.
Gotcha.
Once you have that, you start building that knowledge base.
So for the Lancaster Market Analyzer, that knowledge base would include property values, sales data, demographics, even local zoning laws, I'm guessing.
Absolutely, all of that. And the more relevant information you feed it, the smarter and more accurate it becomes. You're giving it the right tools and knowledge.
It's like they say, garbage in, garbage out, right?
Exactly.
So you've got your blueprint, you're building your knowledge base. What's the next step in this custom GPT construction project?
Next comes fine-tuning and instruction tuning. This is where we train the custom GPT on that specific data and fine-tune those responses.
So it's like taking that raw talent and like shaping it into a star performer.
Exactly. We're refining its ability to do those specific tasks, like analyzing the market trends or generating those really hyper-local property descriptions we talked about.
Okay.
And then instruction tuning, that's about providing crystal clear guidelines, how to format the output, what tone of voice to use. You want to make sure it communicates effectively.
So it's not just what it knows, but how it expresses it. Communication is key.
100%. A property description for a potential buyer is going to sound very different from like a technical analysis for an investor.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. But even with really careful training, there's always a chance of errors. So how do you make sure your custom GPT is reliable and trustworthy?
Yeah, because no one wants an AI making big mistakes, especially in real estate.
Exactly.
No one wants an AI making those big mistakes, that's for sure. So rigorous testing, right?
Rigorous testing. You got to put the custom GPT through its paces, all kinds of scenarios, test cases, the works, and then we compare it to what the human experts come up with. We see if there are any weaknesses and fine-tune it again. So it's this ongoing cycle.
Constantly learning and evolving, like you said. And Red Rose Appraisals definitely seems to get this, because 50 custom GPTs, that's impressive.
Yeah.
But it seems like they're not stopping there at all.
No, not even close. And it's really impressive. There's creativity, honestly. They have custom GPTs for things that, you wouldn't even think of.
Really? Like what?
Well, they have one. It's called the PA Real Estate Course Creation Pro GPT, okay? They have a York, PA, I-83 Industrial Corridor Market Pro GPT. They're even using a custom GPT to manage the company expenses. Come on.
They've thought of everything.
Right.
But, it highlights this really key point I think we haven't touched on yet, which is that custom GPTs aren't limited to just one industry. This is about empowering everyone, from, real estate moguls to, heck, podcasters like us, right?
I know. That's what's so amazing about this technology, that adaptability. Marketing, education, even creative fields. There's a custom GPT application out there waiting to be explored.
Imagine having a custom GPT that's trained on your company's marketing data. It could analyze all those trends, personalize campaigns, even like draft social media posts, all tailored to your audience.
And think about the time you'd save. All those hours you'd normally spend on those repetitive tasks.
Oh, tell me about it.
You could actually focus on strategy, big picture thinking. It frees you up to be more creative and effective.
It's like having a team of AI assistants working behind the scenes so you can, just focus on what you're best at. But before we get too carried away daydreaming about our future AI teams, let's bring it back to today's deep dive. What are some of those key takeaways our listeners should remember about custom GPTs?
I think the biggest takeaway here is that AI, it's not some far-off thing anymore. It's here, it's accessible, and it really does have the potential to totally transform how we work, across industries.
And what's exciting is we're still in the early stages.
Oh, absolutely.
So just imagine the possibilities down the line. It's incredible. It really is like we're standing on the edge of a technological revolution,
Absolutely. And with any revolution, it requires a little bit of a shift in thinking, right? Don't just ask, Can AI do this?
Mhm.
Ask, how can AI help me do this better, faster, smarter?
Yeah. It's about working with AI, not fearing it.
Exactly.
And I think Red Rose Appraisals is such a perfect example of that. They're not trying to replace their expertise. They're enhancing it with custom GPTs.
Exactly. And that's how you get real innovation, when you combine human ingenuity with the power of AI. The sky's the limit there.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into custom GPTs, here's a final thought for our listeners.
Mm.
Don't be afraid to explore. Get curious about how this technology could empower you, how it could revolutionize what you do. Because who knows? Maybe you'll be celebrating your 50th custom GPT milestone someday soon.
And you know what? When you do, give us a call. We'll be here to celebrate right along with you.